y'all, this is Marla K. Hope y'all are well. Got a story that I want to bring to you from CBS News, and it is about the default that could take place next week, as early as next week. I'm not sure if it's next week, but I want to talk about this because there are a lot of things happening at one time. Things are about to collide, and so I don't necessarily know if they're going to allow this to happen. It would make sense if you're trying to topple a nation to do this whole new thing that they want to do that has to do with the world and the order of that world. But a lot of things are happening. We got supply chain issues, we have food shortages that are only going to get worse. We have an economic crisis looming. We have war and rumors of war. We have natural disasters. It's hurricane season. We got volcanoes erupting. We got earthquakes shaking. Just a lot of stuff going on. And then we have political theater that just adds to the disgusting, amount of things that we already have to deal with. I gave you the story yesterday about the increase in dollar stores going up, which means that they anticipate there's going to be a higher number of people with lower incomes or in poverty. And big box stores are closing. They've repealed laws and put laws on the books so that, squatters can come to your house and stay, and, they're not arresting people for nothing. And so, it's just like this perfect storm happening. And, I also think about the border has been open for a long time. So anybody who wanted to slink on through Canada or Mexico has done so. So it just seems like we set up to fail. We set up real good. And so I just want to talk about all those different things before I go into this story so that you kind of understand. It would make sense if the default does happen, although I'm not hoping that it does. It just is a data point or a metric that I use to determine what's happening, what's coming next. So when you talk about the economic collapse, that's going to be huge. And I would not be surprised because more countries are lining up for BRICS. And, I keep thinking about that comment that the Kenyan president made about in a couple of weeks, get rid of your dollars because in a couple of weeks, blah, blah, blah. So the whole world is letting their people know, what time it is, and nobody's letting us know anything. So I'm just kind of gauging the whole world and taking stuff and seeing what's happening in addition to what is happening here and trying to make some sense of it. So I've got on my tinfoil hat. You can eat the meat and spit out the bones. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know what's going to happen, but I still want to talk about it so that you can kind of make preparations and not linger in case something happens. Also suspicious is the fact that they gave out those satellite phones to senators. That was interesting. The timing of it is interesting. So it's almost like they know something's going to happen soon. And so they're telegraphing to whoever they need to telegraph to. But most people just kind of let that fly over their heads. So anyway, let's get into this story. It's on CBS News. Janet Yellen warns if debt ceiling isn't raised in just over a week, U.S. could face default. This article came out on May 22nd, 2023. It will be in the description if you would like to read it and watch this video. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned Congress in a letter Monday that the U.S. government might not be able to pay the bills in just over a week, as early as June 1st, if Congress does not act to raise or suspend the debt ceiling. Her letter came as President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy were to meet at the White House to continue negotiations over a debt limit deal, amid escalating concerns that the U.S. could default on the nation's debts for the first time if Congress does not act in time. With an additional week of information now available, I am writing to note that we estimate that it is highly likely that the Treasury will no longer be able to satisfy all of the government's obligations if Congress has not acted to raise or suspend the debt limit by early June 1st. I keep saying June 1st, by early June, and potentially as early as June 1st, Yellen wrote Monday. The Treasury Secretary has been regularly updating Congress on when the U.S. could run out of borrowing authority. The department has been closely tracking funds coming in from tax receipts, coming in and money going out to pay the nation's bills. What's interesting is that they gave all these rich people tax breaks and then they cry about they don't have money. So you see how, the transfer of wealth happens and then everybody else got to suffer so the rich people can be comfortable and not pay no money. They don't pay their share. And so we're working to make them rich, or they're doing whatever they do to be rich, and then they don't pay fair tax rates. They keep getting breaks and they use these loopholes. So they don't pay their fair share, which is why the government doesn't have any money. And it's been working like this for a long time. This trickle down ain't never trickled. And so here we are dealing with the bridge about to break because there's no money. On January 19th, the U.S. reached its statutory debt limit of $31.4 trillion, and the Treasury Department has been paying the bills with so-called extraordinary measures, like putting a hold on contributions to government workers' retirement and health care funds. This has given the government enough financial capacity to handle expenses until about June. When does the debt ceiling need to be raised? Yellen's last warning on Monday closely aligned with her letter last week, in which she said the U.S. was at risk of default as soon as June 1st, or could run out of money within days or weeks if Congress does not address the debt limit. In an interview on Sunday with NBC News Meet the Press, Yellen called early June a hard deadline, which means, you know, there's no more playing around. They played around all year. They knew this in January, and here they wait to the last minute. So this is why I just feel like it's all orchestrated. It's to lower our frequency, have everybody all scared and afraid, make people frantic. Like that's what they want. So I'm a little disappointed because I'm a federal contractor. So sometimes I get paid from these people, and that means I'm not going to be getting paid. So it's a trip, y'all. It's a trip. She also said that the government's ability to make it until June 15th, when more tax payments are due, was quite low. Revenue levels are being closely monitored by the financial sector. Last week, the Treasury had roughly $68 billion in cash on hand and another $92 billion in untapped extraordinary measures at its disposal. But they bailing out banks, though. They got money for banks and they got money for war. They don't have money to stay a country to pay you, but they got money to blow up stuff, send jets, bombs, guns, money for their friends overseas, all kinds of stuff. So if you think this government is not corrupt, and I don't care which party you talking about, either side, both are corrupt as all get out. In a new in a new report Monday, Wells Fargo economists took a only slightly more optimistic view than the Treasury Department of how long the government has before money runs out. But their assessment is that even in the best case scenario, the Treasury's general account would be extremely low. with less than 50 billion in the first half of June if the debt ceiling is not raised. The characteristic of a 50-50 chance of default in early June as very concerning. They characterized it as that. White House negotiators met with Republicans on Capitol Hill over the weekend to continue talks on the debt limit, and the president spoke with McCarthy over the phone on Sunday, too. The speaker said Republicans want to see 10 years of caps while the Biden administration is seeking a shorter time frame. So they want caps on spending, but they don't want no more tax revenue. They don't want to give back the tax breaks that they got during 45's presidency and the tax breaks they got during uh, um, Obama's presidency. Like every president gives them something. And so over these years, since the Reagan era, they've been doing trickle down economics, taking from us, giving corporations tax breaks, and then putting more pressure on us average Joes. And so now it's coming home to roost. It was unsustainable. And instead of them investing back in communities and in the people and keeping the economy going, they just pay shareholders when they get their tax breaks, they get their windfalls, and they give the shareholders the money. So people who have money to buy stocks and invest, they're the ones who getting over like fat cats. You who go to work for these corporations, you ain't getting nothing. He said several times that nothing has been agreed to, but Republicans want less spending than last year. Woohoo. Mr. Biden returned to Washington late Sunday, cutting short an overseas trip to deal with the debt limit after attending the G7 summit of world leaders in Japan. Any agreement reached between Republican and the White House would need to pass not just in the Republican controlled House, but also the Democratic controlled Senate. McCarthy said Monday the parties must reach a deal this week to get it through the House and send it to the Senate. So if they don't get this done next week, people won't get SNAP benefits, which are food stamps. They won't get TANF benefits, which is welfare. People won't get Social Security checks. Reimbursements won't go out to people who do business with the government. Physicians won't get their Medicaid and Medicare reimbursements. Colleges and universities won't get their drawdown. So, like, there's a huge ripple effect of this debt limit issue. Like I said, people like me who do contract work on behalf of the feds, our money won't be paid to us. So, even for work that we've already done or things that we're working on, we're not going to be compensated for those things until they get this figured out, or we may not be getting compensated at all. Social programs may close down because they don't get their drawdowns from the federal government because they have to meet their, primary obligations, which is, paying pensions and covering things that they have to cover, paying the military, and even the military could not get compensated. I know in the past they've not been compensated, so it's ugly. It's real ugly right now. So if you have money while it's worth something, buy tangible things, buy tools, buy food, buy water, buy, communication tools, get books and things that you can do when the power is out and you don't have, anything to do. Buy seeds, buy things that you can um, use in the event there are some hard times coming. And I wouldn't necessarily put too much stock in ordering stuff online. You need to go out to the stores and get those things in your hands because, if there's a delay in shipping, if you haven't ordered it already and it's not on the way, trying to order something this week and things happen, could be really problematic. Your stuff could be in limbo. Your stuff could not be delivered because the post office is part of the government system. So there are a lot of things at stake here. The supply chain could break down, people could panic, and chaos could ensue. So just make sure you have your things in order. Make sure you have extra gas if you have a car, so that you can travel if you need to leave town. Have an escape plan if you live in the city and you need to, get out. Make sure you have your route already ready. Be prepared to communicate with family members and friends if you are planning on traveling while things are in chaos. Um, if you have money, try to buy, gold and silver, even if it's just old jewelry or new jewelry, diamonds, things like that that are tangible that you could possibly trade of value later on. But I recommend gold and silver, and may possibly, holding some other currencies from other countries, because I don't know if our money is going to be any good. Um, Make sure your vehicles are in good working order. Check your tires, check your oil, buy things like that to maintain your vehicle while your money is still valuable. You got to keep thinking, this might be the last week your money is of value. So use it wisely. Again, buy things that you need. Buy, canning items, jars and tops and stuff like that. So just make sure you're doing what you need to do, and don't let any grass grow under your feet. Use this time to prepare. If nothing happens, good. But if something does happen, at least you took the time to get yourself together. And if you're listening to me and you're in other countries, don't think that just because something is happening in here in America, it won't impact you where you are, because of globalization, we're globally connected. So our economy is connected to everybody's economy. Um, our supply chain is connected to everybody's supply chain. We won't be importing from you, and you won't be able to export to us. So if you rely on those resources, your nation may also be struggling, because you may, be stuck with extra stuff that you're used to exporting and using those revenues to keep up your nations. If you rely on things from America, including remittances, they may not be coming because we may not have any money. So everybody should be preparing, no matter where you are, for whatever happens in America, because whatever happens here is going to impact every nation on earth. And even us, at the local level in our homes, we don't know exactly how those things will impact us, but because it's the federal government and so much of state money comes from the federal government, we are all going to be impacted in some type of way. Could be Head Start, it could be, K through 12 school. If the school doesn't have any money to draw down, teachers won't get paid. Teachers may stop showing up for school. You may have to stay at home and keep your kids. So there are so many implications to this that people just don't generally think about. Even with law enforcement, some law enforcement agencies are subsidized by federal dollars. So it could mean that your local police are not available. Same with fire departments; they may not have money to pay firemen. So if there's looting or something catches on fire, there are going to be fewer firefighters. So just be prepared for whatever happens, because we just don't know, anticipate, anything. But you should be thinking, how can you survive, or what are the absolute necessities your household will need, or your family or your group will need. And whatever you lack, hopefully you've connected with people who can fill in the gaps for you, and y'all are going to share, and y'all have a plan. But this is the time to really be sitting down thinking about what you can do, what could happen, how you're going to make it, and understand you ain't going to be able to depend on this system for nothing. You better act like you know God or the Most High, and you better act like you know you all you got. It's going to be a hard not life for a lot of folks, and you're going to have a lot of folks coming to you if you have been prepared and you calm. They're going to be looking at you crazy like, why you ain't concerned? Because I've been preparing for 4-5 years for this. I've been preparing for 10 or 12 years for this. I saw this 20 years ago. And, people called me kooky, but now we're here, and, people still kind of act like, the end of COVID and the world is going back to normal. So let people do what they're going to do. But if you're listening to me, please be prepared, because you don't want to be outside when folks start scammering and scampering, looking for stuff. Get your toilet paper, get your stuff that you're going to need, and don't just get stuff for like a week or two. Be prepared for a lot of things for a long period of time, because once the supply chain breaks down, you saw how people acted, about toilet paper. They're going to be the same way with food. So just make sure that you are doing what you can to use your time wisely and your money wisely to get what you need to survive whatever's coming. I don't know if anything's going to happen next week with this debt ceiling, but I don't trust these folks, and y'all shouldn't either. All right, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to Odyssey and Rumble in the event that this channel is taken down. Also, consider subscribing to my socials on Instagram, Marley K, and Marleyisms on Facebook. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so that you will get notifications anytime I upload new videos. Continue to pray, continue to prepare, continue to have no fear, because we are covered by the Most High. He is going to look out for us. We have been making it thus far. It's been hard, but we gonna make it. But what we have to do is repent, seek forgiveness, ask for help, be humble, and do what we can to not only prepare, for what's coming for ourselves, but also do something to help somebody else, because we are called to look after, widows and orphans and the poor. And so make sure as you prepare, you are preparing to do something for somebody else in need. All right, y'all, this is Marley K. Love y'all, and I am out.